Sir, your voice is just not coming to us.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Is
Good afternoon, sir.
okay. So that yesterday class we discussed the general characters of algae, and in that general characters of algae, so thallus organization and cell structure. In that different types of the thallus formations are there, and life cycles and some importance means economic importance of the algae. Is it audible? Clear? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, audible? Clear? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So today we discuss the life cycles of some algal members. Means the Idogonium belongs to the chlorophyte, Sargassum belongs to the Phaeophyce, and Polycyphonia, which is belongs to the Rhodophyce order. Divisions means nothing but divisions are there. Means okay. So chlorophyce and Phaeophyce, Rhodophyce. These divisions we discussed that one. What is the characters are there? Okay. So now we discuss the Idogonium. So Idogonium belongs to the chlorophyce, and order is the Idogoniales, family Idogoniaceae. The genus is Idogonium. So Idogonium, this one is the unbranched filamentous algae. Unbranched filamentous algae, which is the have the polarity. Polarity means the basal cell forms a large in size, means that one we call as a cold flask. The basal cell is differentiated to other cells, which is in very large and which is attached to the substratum. Okay. The cell division C is the unique pattern and which is characterized the order of the, which is there is the formation of the cap cells. So based on the cap cells, the Idogonium here the specialized cap cells are there. This is a specific character you can identify it in the Idogonium. So asexual reproduction is by the Stephanocant zoospores. Stephanocant zoospores means these zoospores are the apical region, numerous flagella is present. That one we call as the Stephanocant zoospore. So and the sexual reproduction is the eugamous type. So the unique character of this order is the production of the dark male plants. That one we call as a non-andrium. Dark male plants are there. That one we call as a non-andrium. Okay. So in Greek word, Idogonius means swelling and organs means reproductive structures are there. So which is the a widespread freshwater algae that grows in the ponds, lakes, and streams also. Okay. The filament of the Idogonium, which is the unbranched and exhibits the polarity. The filament consists of the row of the cylindrical cells except the basal cell. All cells are in the cylindrical form, which is the colorless basal cell is present is in the form of the chloroplast. Okay. So, which is the, attached to the substratum. The cells are usually longer than broad. They provide a very thick wall, which is differentiated into cellulose, which is the inner wall. Middle layer is made up of the pectin, and outer one is made up of the chitinaceous layer. The nucleus, The nucleus is the prominent and lies in the partial protoplasm. The chloroplast is the elaborate, the partial and reticulate contains many pyrannids also present. So some microtubules are present. So these microtubules are said to provide the structural support to the massive reticular chloroplast and perhaps also facilitate its growth and development. Okay, what is the growth and cell division of the Idogonium? So here the peculiar characteristic features of the Idogonium is the method of the growth of the cell wall and cell division. Growth and cell division are intercalary. These may be recognized by the presence of cell division scars or some rings-like structures are there. So the presence of the cell division has been described in the detail with the help of the both light and electron microscope only. So prior to the division of the cell and transfer, a ring of thickening appears at the upper and beneath the septum. See here. The nuclear division is followed by the formation of the septum across the mid region of the cell. Okay, the middle region of the cell here, a septum is present. Like this only. So in the septum, which is the remains for some time so unconnected to the longitudinal walls, means side walls. Then the outer layer split into the vicinity of the ring-like thickenings are present. So they becomes stretched to the form a new cylindrical piece in the between the cap and teeth of the old wall. So that's why they are to form a ring-like structures are appeared. They are in the form of that one we call as the cap cells. The next one is the reproduction. The Idogonium, which is reproduced by three ways are there. That is the vegetative, asexual, and sexual vegetations are there. Three methods are involved in the vegetative reproduction. That is the vegetative reproduction takes place by the fragmentation and actinide formation. So already we discussed that one. What is the fragmentation means? So is anybody telling what is the fragmentation? Anybody tell? Hello? Please respond. Anybody? What is fragmentation?
Making into small pieces.
Okay, good. Nice. So nice answer. What happened here? The filament which is breaks down into small pieces are there, means small fragment. So that each fragment, each filament and that piece will be generated or developed a new talent. They act as a adult plant like that. So another one is the actinide formation. So in the during the unfavorable conditions, some cells of the filament became swollen, means in large size, and they have the very thick wall. Their protoplast became very rich in the reserved food material and some oils also. So these thick wall, which is resting, we call resting cells, that one called as actinides. When the favorable conditions are will come, these actinides are germinated. They produced a new filament or new algae member. Okay. So another one is the asexual reproduction. So in the asexual asexual reproduction occur by the formation of the multiflagellate to juice spores are there. During the the formation of the protoplast withdraws itself from the cell wall and becomes a more or less spherical in structure. Then the colorless or hyaline appears on the one side of the contrast protoplast. A ring of the basal granules or brephloplast appear along the margin of the colorless area. So from each granule of the flagellum, which is the rise. So these juice pores are a pear-shaped structures are there. At the point and beginning, they are colorless. So there is no cell wall, and numerous flagella are formed in the form of the crown-like structures are there in the apical region. So that one we call as the staphnocon juice pore. See here, this type of the juice pores, like this type of the juice pore. Staphnocon juice pore. All flagella are formed in the form of the crown-like structures are there. So after the development of the juice pore, the wall near the cap region open apart the single juice pores move out the cell in the mucilaginous vesicles, and after some time it dissolves. So after swimming for some time, they settle down and a suitable substratum and that develop these flagella are withdrawn and attached to it is differentiated in the whole flask, and the latter region of the juice pores divide maybe many times, which is developed a new filament or flagell thallus. So this is the asexual reproduction. Next one, the sexual reproduction. So in this type is the eugamous type. We are observed the eugamous type of the reproduction in the Idogonium. So in this Idogonium, two types of the species are present. Means the filaments are there. That is the macrandrous type. Another one is the nanandrous type. The macrandrous forms are usually monoecious. They produced Antheridia and Ugonium on the same plant. That one is the monoecious, or sometimes they are dioecious. They produce the Antheridia or Ugonia on the different individual plants, individual filaments also. That is the macrandrous type. In the nanandrous form, the sexual parts of the dimorphic conditions are there. Means Ugonia are produced in the form of the normal filament, but the Antheridia producing filament, which is a specialized filament, is there. They are in small in size. That one we call as the dwarf male plants or nanandria. So these nanandrium is extremely very short, within 1 to 3 cells are always attached to the Ugonia proper or to the underlying the cells. That is the nanandrium. Okay. The macrandrous type, another one is the nanandrous type. Macrandrous types are morphologically similar, but the nanandrous type are the dimorphic condition is there. Male one is the very short, that one we call as the nanandria or dwarf male plant. So in the reproduction system in the macrandrous form. So that is the antheridia development.
Nanandria means male plants.
Sorry. Nanandria is the reproductive means antherozoids producing part that is the very small short in size. Okay, very short in size, which is called as a nanandria or nanandrium. Okay.
Short cells are called nanandria.
So this one is the very short structure is there. That is the nanandrium. This one. Okay, which is attached to the Ugonium. Beside the below the Ugonium. Okay. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Clear.
thank you. So So the development of the antheridia in the macronous type of the reproduction here, the antheridia develops from any cell of the filament except basal cell. Except basal cell, any cell which act as a antheridia. These cells called antheradial mother cells, which is maybe intercalary or terminal cells. The antheridial mother cells divided vegetatively into the upper antheridial cells and lower sister cells. So these antheridial cells undergoes to serious some number of divisions, means mitotic divisions are to form 2 to 4 antheridia. Each antheridium may give rise to a single multiflagellate antherozoids. Okay, so that antherozoids are very similar to the zoospores but smaller in size. Before that one, zoospores, sexual zoospores are there. That is also look like only, but these antherozoids are very small in size. Okay. So a few flagellas are occurred, very pale yellow or yellowish color is there. So after the development of these antherozoids are liberated to act as a zoospore. Next one is the development of the Ugonium. The Ugonia are produced from the cells that act as Ugonial mother cells. The Ugonial mother cells may be either apical or intercalary cells. So the what happened here? The mother cells transverse division of this leads to the upper and lower cell. The upper cell became the Ugonium, and the lower one we call as the supporting cells or suffragatory cells. So lower cell we call as a supporting cell or supporter cell. So sometimes the Ugonia produced in this series repeated division. So the each Ugonium are some spherical in structure, and they are filled with the reserved food size. The fruit flash transfer into a single egg. So this mature Pugonium have fertilized the juice force, the nanodus forms. In the nanodus forms, so there is a dimorphism between the male and female filaments in the nanodus forms. The female filaments are normal in size. They are to produce in the antheridial-like structures are called androsporangia, and with the juice pores that been called androspores. Each androsporangium they possess the single androspore is there. These androspores when released development and to developed as a male dwarf plant or non-andrium. So each dwarf male or non-andrium is a few-celled filament with a basal stop and one three antheridial cells, and it is epiphytic on the filament of the male female plant. Androsporangia are developed on the same filament, that one we call as a gynandrosporous plant. Either both are developed on the different filaments, that one we call as a Idogonium. Okay, Ugonium and androsporangium means non-androus. If they are developed in the same filament, that one is the gynandrosporous. They are developed in the different filament, that one we call as a Idogonium. Okay. So development of the dark male or non-andria by the repeated transverse division of the cell in the filaments a chain of the cells, small cells are produced. These cells are called as androsporangia, which is similar to the antheridia of the macrandrous type. So each antheridium or androsporangium possesses a single androspore, which is the size intermediate between the anthrozoids and zoospores. These anthrozoids, androspores are the first liberation, are surrounded by the basils. Okay, basils are there. So after these basils are disappeared, these androspores are seen and to freely. After some time, so comes to the rest and attach to themselves the Ugonium or Sxl cell that can be considered as a androspores, non-andria. So each androspore developed into two or few celluled form that one we call as a draft male plant or non-andria. Very short in size. The basal cell of uh, the basal cell of the draft male plant is which is the vegetative and serve for the attachment. So other cells are antheridia, they are gives us to anthrozoids. Okay. So in the development of the Ugonia, development of the Ugonia here. The Ugonial development or androus species are similar to the Macranthus types only. After fertilization means both the Macranthus and Anandrous species are entering to the anthrozoids to the pore of the Ugonial wall and reach the egg to through the receptacle pod. So fused between the male and female nuclei and form the zygote. Okay. So after zygote, prior to germinate, the diploid spores undergoes to the meiosis to form the four haploid nuclei. Okay. These haploid nuclei organized into four nuclear daughter protoplast by the cleavage of the oospore protoplast. So each these nuclei are developed a multiflagellate zoospore which grows to a new plant. So that one is the haploid Idogonium. So that's why the aplonospores after sometimes are liberated. Some heterothallic species, so of the zoospores are developed into male plants. Okay, this is the life cycle of the Idogonium. Okay. So next one is the Sargassum. So Sargassum belongs to the Phaeophyceae. This one is the Sargassum belongs to the Phaeophyceae. Phaeophyceae on the division is there. What is the here Phaeophyceae means? They are called as the what is that one? Right? Seaweed. Phaeophyceae here we call as the seaweed. Okay. This is the classification of the Sargassum here. The division is the Phaeophyceae, order is the Fucalis, the family is the Sargassum, the genus is the Sargassum. What is Phaeophyceae? Phaeophyceae and Fucales, the Sargassum family, and Sargassum. This is the classification of the Sargassum. Okay. So most of the Sargassum species occur in the tropical and subtropical region. Along the rocky shores. So this sargassum commonly called as a gulf weed or seaweed. Okay. So what is the vegetative structure of the sargassum here? The sargassum is the macroscopic algae members. Means they are directly we are seeing our naked eyes. This plant body is differentiated into whole plus cylindrical main axis and the lateral leaves are there, but not a angiospermic plant, but which is looks like a development plant. The leaf-like structures are often consist of central prominent ribs with a smooth or serrate margins are there. Serrate margins. So in this axis of the laterals are swallowed into stalked and solitary spherical structures are there. That one we call as a air bladders are there or air bladder. The air bladders contain some gases as the atmosphere. Hence they are act the floats keeping to the plant upright in the water. Okay. So some terminal portions of mature plants are leafless but gives rise to compact, much branched, cylindrical, flattened structures are there. That one we call as a receptacles are there. These receptacles are also seen developing the leaf-like structures also there. Okay. So what is the internal structures are there? This is a transverse section of the branch. So here a leaf or strip and also receptacle showing the well marked differentiation into three regions are there. That is the meristoderm, that one is outermost
What is
layer,
meaning
and
for receptacle?
sorry,
Receptacle.
so receptacles, which is the small structures, leaf-like structures are there. Receptacle, which are the small leaf-like structures are there.
Yes, sir.
That one we call as the receptacle. Flatted small structures are there. Cylindrical flatted branch, small branch.
Shape.
Not a leaf, but this like leaf-like structures are there. That one is the
Okay, sir.
receptacles.
Thank you.
Okay. So that one is the middle one is the cortex and inner one is the medullosa. So the cells of meristoderm are elongated, contain the number of chloroplasts are there. So the external of this mucilaginous cuticle, the internal to the meristoderm is a hypodermal layer, is the made up of similar cells but without chloroplast. So this one is there. So next one is the reproduction system. In the sargassum, we see the reproduction system, vegetative and sexual reproduction are occurred in the sargassum. So sargassum, which is the free-floating forms on the seas. So this affect the fragmentation of the thallus. Which is a fragment means that each fragment that grows as a new plant body. The next one is the reproduction. Next one is the sexual reproduction. The species of the sargassum either monoecious or dioecious. These sex organs are produced a flask-shaped structures are there. That one we call as a conceptacle. A flask-like structures are there. That one is the conceptacle. So these conceptacles are developed in the upper region of the axillary branches that known as a receptacle. These receptacles may be cylindrical or platen-like structures. In monoecious, the sex organs are antheridia or another one is the Ugonia. Okay. The structure and development of the conceptacle. So which is a flask-like structures are there. So conceptacle develop from a superficial cell, that is the apical cell of the which undergoes to the transverse division. They are produced the two cells. So in that cells, lower one is the basal cell, upper one is the tank cell. So after some times means they are developed into hair-like structures are there. The basal cells by a series of the divisions, vertical divisions are occur. They are gives rise to the cells contain the numerous chromatophores, which is the leaves the floor of the cavity of the conceptacles. So these cells are undergoes to one or two transverse division to form the 2 to 3 layers of the superficial layers. So they give us to Antheridia and Ugonia. Okay, at the conceptacle is nothing but the cavity of the superficial part of the medullosa or medulla of the receptacle. It has a few layered wall and it is rich in chromatophores. The greater part of the wall bears many branched hair-like filaments are there. That one we call as the paraphysis. So these cells are barrel-shaped and scanty chromatophores are there. Okay. So the antheridia arise from the any cell of the male conceptacles. So it grows out into the papilla-like structures, which is divided to produce the two cells. So lower one is the wall formation of the conceptacles, whereas the upper one divide into two cells. So from these two cells, lower one called as a stalk and upper one called as the antheridia. So the stalk cells grows out into the branch, pushing to the first terminal antheridium one, and branch cell may again divide into terminal antheridium and basal branch cell. So after each antheridia are small and oval in shape. During the gametogenesis, antheridial nucleus divide repeatedly to form the 32 or 64 mature antheridias are produced. That one we call as a spermatozoites. Okay. So next one is the development of the Ugonia. So in any cell of the
Ugonia.
so any cell of the conscript are function as Ugonial initial. The Ugonial initial enlarges and divide into two unequal cells. So lower smaller cells act as stalk cells and upper one is the Ugonial cell, which is increased in the size. These Ugonia which are the sessile and embedded in the wall of the conceptacle. Okay. So here these conceptacle cells nucleus undergoes to the number of divisions and to produce the 8 nuclei. So the mature Ugonia are liberated through the ostiole. Ostiole means opening place. Sometimes remain attached to the conceptacle wall by the means of some gelatinous stalk-like structures are there. The next one is the fertilization. So when the liberation of these spermatozoids from the antheridia, which is they swim towards the female conceptacle and they fuse and to form the zygote. Finally, to fuse and male and Ugonium. So zygote, then the germination they start while they still enclosed the Ugonium and laterally it is still attached to the conceptacle wall. Due to the gelatinous of the Ugonial wall, the zygote is liberated and rests some solid substratum. After the division by transverse wall to form the two cells. The lower cell gives rise to the fibrous rise like structures are appear, which is the anchor of the substratum, and upper cells are developed as the Sargassum plant. This is the zygote germination. So in the cryptoblast, so beside the conceptacles, a flask-shaped structures are there, that one we call as the cryptoplast. Okay. So alternation of the generation. Here the sargassum shows this type of the alternation of the generation means the diploid sporophyte, which is the possess a flask-shaped structure called conceptacle, which is enclosed to the antheridia and ugonia. Both are the diploid. The reduction division takes place during the gametogenesis. So here gametes are produced, which are the haploid condition. So after these gametes means spermatozoids are fused with the egg to form the diploid zygote. So that's why the gametophytic generation is completely represented by the only the gametes are haploid condition is there. So that is the diploid and haploids are both are the alternated. So that's why alternation of the generation we are called. Okay. So next one is the another the topic is the Polycyphonia. So what is the Polycyphonia? Means this is the rhodophyte. So the classification here, the Polycyphonia belongs to the rhodophyte. The order is the rhodophyte and order is the Ceramials. Then family is the Rhodomeliaceae. Then genus is the Polycyphonia. Okay, Polycyphonia. So these Polycyphonia means poly means many, siphons means tubular like structures. So that's why the name is coming under their structures. Okay. So this is the belongs to the Rhodophyceae. Order is the Ceramials and family is the Rhodomeliaceae. The genus is the Polycyphonia. So around the 200 species are there. So thallus organization. The genus Polycyphonia, which is derives their name from the polycyphonous structures are there. So central axis, there is a central siphonous, which is surrounded by the 4 to 24 peripheral siphons are there. So that's why the name is described with their structure. So the plant body is the heterotrichous with the erect system and branched and filamentous prostate system. Both are there. Erect system and prostate system. Okay. So here the aerial portion of the thallus is the feathery-like appearance are there, which is consist of the branched filaments with the branch and branched several times. They are beautifully, they are looks like a beautifully feathery appearances are present. So the branching is usually lateral and the branchings are kinds of there. Two kinds of the branches are there. That is the short branches and the long branch. So short branches are limited growth branches. They are known as the trichoblast. So these short branches, which is called as the trichoblast, which are the colorless, hair-like and fork structures are there. Okay, the erect filaments are rise from the creeping and these erect filaments bear the trichoblast. Okay, these cells are gelatinous and the entire the thallus cover the common gelatinous envelope is there. Okay, the cells are uninucleate, consist of many discoid. This is the polycyphon like structures are there. red color here also nodes are there. So from the row of the axial cells, all axial cells except the first row cells undergo tangential vertical divisions and form the peripheral layer of the specific number. This is the structure and some of the. So here the thallus is the dichotomously and laterally the branched with the two kinds of branches are there. The branches, what happened here? The branches of limited growth branches and branches of unlimited growth branches are there. So growth of the thallus is due to dome-shaped apical cells. It cuts off a series of the parallel arranged some cells are there. So this is the thallus of structures are there. Next one is the reproduction system. So what is the reproduction here? We can see that one. In the Polycyphonia, which is the reproduced, means there occur three separate kinds of plants are there. Three individual plants are there. That is the gametophyte and carposporophyte. Then third one is the tetrasporophyte. These three plants are individual plants are there. So gametophyte, which is the free living haploid plant, they are dioecious and concerned with the sexual reproduction and produce the gamete. So another one is the carposporophyte, which is the diploid plant developed from the zygote, which remains attached to the female gametophyte and its act as a parasite. So the carposporophyte concerned with the production of the diploid carpospores. Another is the tetrosaurophyte, which is the independent plant like gametophyte, but which is the diploid and which produces the haploid tetraspores. Okay. So these haploid gametophyte and diploid tetrasporophyte plants are similar in their vegetative structure.
Sir, reproductive process, three different plants are there.
Here, three types of the plants are there. Okay, in the sporophyte means Sargassum, these Polycyphonia, they are exhibits the three separate types of the plants are there. Okay, that is the gametophytic plant and carposporophyte. Another one is the tetrasporophyte. Three individuals are there, but carposporophyte is the act as a
Zygote formation.
Zygote formation, and which is the act as a parasitic plant.
Gametophyte, sir?
Gametophyte is the individual plant, which is the haploid plant.
Haploid plant.
Haploid plant. Carposporophyte is the diploid plant. It is not an independent plant, which is the attached to the gametophytic plant, female gametophytic plant.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So on the gametophyte, the gametophytic plant Polycyphonia consists with the sexual reproductions, which are the oogamous type only. So the plants here, the plants are heterothallic or dioecious conditions are there. Male and female are organs are born on the different gametophytic plant. Both male and female plants are morphologically similar in structure. So male gametophytic plant here we can see. So it possesses male organs called as spermatangia. The spermatangia are born in the dense clusters and closely packed, forming compactly a cone-shaped structures are there. So these branches are called as the trichoblast. So the fertile trichoblast divide and variably and gives numerous pericentral cells are there. So each pericentral cells divide sometimes to produce the spermatogenial mother cell. So these spermatogenial mother cells produce two tools for spermatia. After they are compact cone-shaped structures, which is consist of the spermatangia, a cluster like of this hello. So another one is the female. So the female gametophyte possess the female organs called as the carpogonium. So here two or three basal cells of these female trichoblast gives rise to central and pericentral cells. These pericentral cells produce the supporting cells, which divides and form 4 to 5 celled filaments are called carpogonial filaments or carpogonial branches. Each carpogonial branch known as a procarp. So it gets modified into the carpogonium, which is consists a long, slender distal portion that is the trichogyne and swollen based, which contain the uninucleate egg. So fertilization. After the liberation of the spermatangia, which is carries passive to uh, the seawater, they are coming to contact the carpogonium at the region of the trichogyne. Okay.
Support
So trichogyne at the point of the contact swollen base.
carpogonia filaments are cells are divided to form carpogonia.
Yes. So that carpogonia here, the female organ we call as the carpogonia.
Female
Okay.
organ. Okay, sir.
Inside the carpogonia cells, here they are to form some supporting cells and filament-like cells are there. That one is the carpogonial filament.
Inside.
Okay. Inside that one. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So at the time, what happened here? The male nucleus enters into the trichogyne and move towards the swollen basal egg region. So they are to fuse to form the zygote. So after some fertilization, here some changes are occurred in the Polycyphonia. So after fertilization, some changes are occurred. So some number of changes are placed with the sexual apertures leading to the development of the carposporophyte, or that one we call as the cystocarp. So supporting cells cut off the axillary cells to the upper side, okay, and the tubular cell or connecting cells are established between the axillary cells and carpogonium basal cell. Okay. So these trichoblasts adjust to the supporting cells and start the production of the sterile sheath, that one we known as the pericarp or cystocarp. So wall around the developing the cystocarp and a urn-shaped structure is there. The pericarp has a terminal opening place is there, that one we call as the ostiole. This one, this is the opening place is there. Okay, ostiole. So the divisions of zygote nucleus in axillary cells always in mitosis, and mass of the nucleate uninucleate filaments are grows from the upper side of the axillary cell. The terminal cells going gonoblast filaments develop into carpogonia. So each carpogonium to produce a single carpospore, which is the diploid. Okay, which means the axillary cells and other cells of the carpogonia branches fuse to form a large placental sheath, which is the nutrient product to development of the cystocarp or carposporophyte. So here the sterile filaments also divide to form into the nutritive filament, which is the nourishment of the cystocarp. So next one is the carposporophyte. So these diploid carpospores present in the female gametophyte to act as the parasite constant to the carposporophyte. It consists of the zygote and gonoblast filaments bearing the carpogonia, carposporangia. It produces the diploid carpospores and liberated through the ostiole and carried by the water. When they are reached the suitable substratum, inevitably they are divided to produce the diploid free living Polycyphonia, that one we call it the Tetrosaurophyte.
जरा हंसे वो गलती कर दी वो जरा हंसी जिन्हें लगा पकड़ लिया गया
So this is the carpospore liberated to form the carposporangia, which is germinate into a new diploid plant that is called as the tetrasporophyte. Okay. During the germination, these spores divide transversely to form the four-celled uniseriate filaments, whose lowermost cells into the rhizoids and upper one forms the apical cell that developed as a tetrosaurophyte. So these free living and plant, which is resemble to the sexual plant in the morphology, it consists of the central siphon encircled by the peripheral pericentral siphons are there. The thallus is laterally branched, similar to the gametophytic plant body, but which is the diploid condition only to produce the tetraspores. So that one we call a tetrasporangia. So the pericentral cells divide vertically into an outer covers and inner sporangial mother cells. The form may be divided further later segmented transversely to prostoc cells and upper sporangial cells. The sporangial nucleus undergoes to reduction division for nucleate protoplast into four. These tetraspore, after liberation from the tetrasporangium, these germinate and they act as a male and female plants. This clearly indicates there is the pair of the sex determination in alanic genes in the Polycyphonia. These alleles are segregated at the first meiotic division and gives rise to the spores. So what happened here? Out of the four, one of the pores which is developed as a male, other half developed as a female plant. So this is the production system in the Polycyphonia. So here this life cycle is called as alternation of the generation. Why are here alternation of the generation means there are the three different phases are there, that is the gametophyte and carposporophyte, another one is the tetrasaurophyte. So gametophytic plant body, which is the sexual phases are there, which is a haploid condition, which is alternate with the carposporophyte, which is the diploid, and which is the parasitic on the female plant. This one also alternate with the tetrasporophyte, which is the free living diploid condition, which is resembled to the gametophytic plant body. Okay, this is the life cycle. Means two diploid phases are alternate with the one haploid gametophytic plant body. So that's why this plant body, the life cycle is described as a diplobiontic life cycle. Diplobiontic life cycle. Okay, clear? Okay, Nandi. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Andy. So from in our topics here, the Idogonium reproduction is the important. They are asking the non-andreous forms, macroandreous forms, and development of the macroandria or non-andria, dark male plants. That one is important. Reproduction in the Idogonium.
Idogonium.
And Idogonium reproduction system.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the here also the Sargassum. Sargassum is also reproduction system. Sargassum reproduction system is also important.
Okay.
Okay. And, another one is the Polycyphonia reproduction system. Okay.
Polycyphonia.
Polycyphonia reproduction system. So mainly after post fertilization changes, means after fertilization changes mainly focus. Okay. Okay, clear?
How many
Okay,
marks
sir.
get for this lesson, sir?
What?
And how we get any marks for this lesson, sir?
Marks.
Yes, sir.
Marks is the depending on the formation of the question paper. Okay, around maybe one short question is also coming and another one essay question is also coming from this topic. Okay,
One long question, one short question, sir.
short question, some short question depending on the paper setting. Okay, but these three topics means Idogonium reproduction and Sargassum, Polycyphonia reproduction system. You focus. Okay, Nandi.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. So thanking for attending the class. Okay, I will after the session means after last class, I will give some important questions also. Don't worry about that one.
Okay,
Okay.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So
Thank
in
you,
that
sir.
questions, okay, you will concentrate in that questions only. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Those questions are asked. Okay.
Sir, this lesson reproductive are important.
In this one on reproduction only reproduction. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you everybody.
Sheikh Nazia. Hello. Nazia, hello. Hello, Nazia.
हेलो हेलो
अरे आपका नाजिया. हाय नाजिया. सुमैया.
नाजिया నేనే నాజియా
नाजिया. हाँ. मुस्लिम.
मुस्लिम मुस्लिम हमारा बात नहीं आते थोड़े थोड़े चाहते
हाँ. आपका नाम नाजिया है.
हाँ
कौन सी लैंग्वेज. हाँ.
तेलुगु में पूछो.
ओह.